What's up, everyone? Michael DeMond here with the latest episode of Starbeam.one, Stand-Up and Shine.
And Shill, Shill, Stand up and shine, and Shill.
Yes, I've been wanting to do a little beatbox session there in the beginning of the show for the longest time, and I'm kind of warming up to it. In fact, I'm wanting to actually do beatboxing as a product and start out with doing Twitter Spaces and just do a beatbox session and then download it and then sell it on Starbeam.one. That's something I've been wanting to do, so I'm kind of warming up to that, and that's sort of one of my ways of getting out there and getting the wheels in motion, so to speak. So welcome. I didn't say it in the beginning, and this is usually what I say in the beginning, is that this show is based after agile methodology, which is you have a stand-up and you tell your teammates what you're working on, what you're going to be working on, and any sort of friction points you are encountering. And I've added a little bit more, and we start out here with program notes, and really everything's really quiet right now, and it's actually pretty nice. I've been able to get some work done, which is good. This is new and pretty excited about it. So being quiet is not all a bad thing. Okay, dashboard. This is the Shill part of the episode where I walk you through any new features and also any pertinent statistics that have been going on with the application. And anyone can get to the dashboard. You don't even need to be signed in. Press the hamburger menu up to the top right and then scroll down to dashboard, and that will take you to this page full of statistics. And right out of the gate here, we notice this orange highlight. Shout out to Elizabeth out there, who is working on our AI and UX, and just suggesting certain fixes like this, where and this is actually not the first time this has been suggested, that we've been using a boring gray, an alpha gray. I call it alpha gray color for our buttons, our primary buttons, because it is an alpha and alphas tend to be boring. And so now with a quick fix here, we've changed that to orange. I like it. It's I changed it was actually supposed to just be the purchase button, but I changed all the buttons to orange just to add a little bit more color or flair to our site. And it's actually based on our Flair logo made by Lily Uni there. And so we've got our new highlight there for our buttons in orange. And so now we can move on to the dashboard, the statistics here. And you can see we have 170 or 100, almost 170 users at 167. And we've got 63 artists and 79 collectors. And so these numbers just keep on ticking. And remember, keep in mind, we're not doing any formal advertising or marketing yet. That's what we're working on now. We're getting these features in place so that we can start advertising for Alpha 4, which is on June 6th. I'm actually feeling pretty good about that. We'll talk about that. But this is actually a really good time to do a demo, because we had a really good sales yesterday, a really good sales push yesterday. Almost 150 total sales, 150 total, 150 flares total of all time, of all 24-hour. It's been a while since I've talked. It's been 2 weeks here. So it's 100. Here we go. Let's just scroll here. Almost 150 flares of 24-hour total volume. Thank you. There you go. Thank you, website. Thank you, statistics. So 146.54 flares. And remember, one flare equals $1. It's just a fancy way of saying $1. We don't have an asset. We don't use cryptocurrency. We don't have a blockchain. But we want to do some world building, because we are on a starship, and we can't talk straight today. So here we are. We've got our flare. Our one flare equals $1, and so we are on a starship, a digital publishing starship, and this starship has its own currency, the flare. So that's what all these currency symbols mean. And so this is kind of this dashboard. It kind of tells you exactly what we've been doing and what we have been accumulated up to this point. Now we've finally passed 3,000 flares of all-time volume, which is amazing, and that's a pretty good statistics here. So this combines our primary sales and our resales. Look at our resales though, right? Like we've got 2,500 in our primary sales, but our resales are starting to pick up a lot, and that's you like to see that, because that's where the royalties are generated for our artists who produce those primary sales. So they produce the licenses, and they get the 100% of their asking price from there. And then from all of the resales, they get 10% or more, depending on what the purchaser purchases. And so that accumulates as well. And so now our total is 3,000. Again, no formal marketing or advertising. That should be here soon. And it's just really exciting to see that. All right. So finally, we've got 3,000 total sales, and our average sale price here, average sale amount, is increasing. So this used to be around 60 cents or 50 cents, really. really. And now it's been kind of climbing up because our average price for our licenses, for our featured market, and we have a few of those traditional markets as well, it's starting to increase the overall price there. So remember, keep in mind, we actually started out at like 0.25 for all of our licenses because we were doing that, $5 a month, and you break that down into 20 working days of a month. That's 0.25 per collector per day. Well, we changed on from that models, but that, most of our sales were around that number at 0.25, and then they've been increasing to this amount here. So, okay, so now, and this is also something that we're not doing here. This is just primary sales. We're not including the resales in there. So we should probably do that because we just had a resale that was over $100. It was a little bit of a joke, and that was 123.456 flares, and someone purchased that, and so that actually kind of totally skews our sales, but these are just primary sales here. So okay, so moving on, we're still kicking around 7,000 visitors per month there, and just hovering around that, so that's great. We're not really marketing or advertising, but that's kind of where it's sticking around. You can see for our user accounts, it looks like it feels like we've had a lot more than that, but yeah, it has declined a little bit, but we've been up until this past week, we have been doing one user per week, one new account per I'm just not talking straight today, but one new user account per day. And so you just scroll through here. We still have Twitter being our primary provider, and we've got Google being our pretty up there as well. Reddit's still climbing up a little bit. Production statistics, it's still hovering around 20 to 30, 40 licenses per day, and we crossed 4,000, so that's still a pretty good metric here. And let's see, inventory. So last time I mentioned that this is this percentage here is the amount sold. So we actually have 20% unsold inventory, and I was kind of unclear about that last time, but that's what that is. So we have 20% of our inventory is unsold, and if you add all that up, it's over 1,300 or almost 1,400 flares or $1,400 just sitting there. So if you had $1,400, you would be able to buy all of the outstanding inventory that's sitting there, and this would be 100% sold. So that's kind of how that works. I kind of want to explain that because I was saying it was unsold, and that is not the case. This is the percentage that is sold. So we have 20% that's remaining that is unsold. So maybe I should put that in there as kind of the delimiter to kind of improve the communication there. I'll put that on the list of things to do. So moving along here, we've got our markets, and really, most of the statistics we have, I will say, we're almost up with $1,000 for withdrawals. This is kind of what I'm focusing now on, is how much are we getting money back out to our artists, and how many artists are we paying? And you can see that here, still climbing up. Gratuities, we passed $400 with gratuities. Haven't spent any of it yet. It's just sitting there. And so, it's really, right now, it's just awesome to watch everything working without exception, no exceptions. So that's really like the most important part here. So there are some benefits of, not kind of rushing, go sort of thing. We talk about the tortoise and the hare here a lot. And so we are definitely a tortoise, and we're taking our time, making sure things work, and not trying to make any missteps here. Finally, this last balance here of the network is 0, and it is. Let's move on to the next slide here. Yes, having trouble talking this week, and there's some times where I'm thinking maybe it's just once a month sort of thing, and because this is a lot of work. It takes the entire day, but it is a chance for me to check in and get some practice, right? So if I'm rusty after 2 weeks, imagine how rusty I would be after 4 weeks. It's kind of exactly how I think about it. And also, I'm trying to get better at just making mistakes. Really, when I first started doing this filming over a year ago, I was really super obsessed with not making any mistakes and just redoing takes until I got just perfect. And I'm just getting better with just making mistakes, because eventually I'm going to do a live show, like I'm going to be on a live recording, and you can't redo things. And I just have to be, comfortable with making mistakes and going with the flow sort of thing. Okay. So with that aside, I'm going to talk about what I did. And really all I'm doing right now is user administration. So we have this administration application that allows administrative functions, and right now it's all about users. And so we talk about having the ability to close an account, right? So that wasn't in place, but that is in place now. So we have the ability to close an account, and because part of the reason why the major use case right now is people accidentally create accounts signing in with one authenticator like Google, and then they'll forget what they signed in with, and then 2 months later they visit the site again, and then they sign in with Twitter, and now congratulations, you have 2 accounts now. How do we reconcile that, right? Like that's sort of the major problem. And so now what we can do is we can close one account, and then that releases, if there's not a lot of activity on it, that releases all of the resources tied to it, and then you can apply that to the other one. And the other major story, which we'll get into next, is merging, which allows you to take those two accounts and move them into one. And with that, what am I working on now? We'll be working on for the next 2 weeks. It's user merging and user account merging. And, this is one of those things that's been on my radar here for over a year, because it became very apparent very quickly that people are going to be creating these accounts. As cool as OAuth 2 is, and as many problems as it solves, it does introduce this other problem where, and I have a few other ideas to help address this, but you can create an account using Google and then sign up 2 months later with Twitter, and you just forget which account you signed in with. So we're going to make a better effort here to make sure you know which one you signed in with. And if you make an accidental account, then you can merge your current account with that account and combine them into one. And what that does is that closes the other account and keeps that one account that you are working with or that you specify. So this is kind of a major story. It's not really straightforward. There's two parts of it. There's the administrative aspect where I, as an administrator, can merge accounts for you. And then we're going to do a self-serve function where you, as a user, can say, okay, I'm going to log in with one account and I'm going to point it to the other account that I created, and then you do conversely the same thing. And if two accounts are pointing to each other, then they can be merged. And then you set that off, and then I review it, and then I finalize that on my end. So that's sort of a self-serve sort of thing, and that is the second part. So it's kind of a major story, right? It's not like putting in something where it's overnight sort of thing. So I do have to work on it, and it's going to take a few times. It looks like a little bit over a week at this point. Then after that, if that works out, it's going to be login screen improvements along the same vein as what I was just talking about, where if you signed in with a Google before, we're going to store that in a variable that sticks around a little bit longer than a cookie, so that you can see that, and so you have at least you'll be able to say, oh, I've signed in with Google, and that's like the primary thing that'll only be visible to you. And then, you can do things like forget that, sort of thing. Just make it easier so that, if you've logged in before on that device, it will show you what you've logged in with before, and then you can try logging in so that you don't create an accidental account. And then finally, there's the reason why we're doing all this is that we want to enforce an email policy, because right now, enforcing an email policy has some tricks to it, because there's some, challenges that go along with that. So we wanted to have all these little components in place in case you have to merge accounts, because an email can only be attached to one account. So we want to make sure that you can merge accounts and then close accounts if you need to do that. And so if I have any time left over, that's what I will be working on. All right, friction points, man. Harold's actually starting to get a little free here with his free time, and I knock on wood each time, because it's sort of a tempting fate that, hey, nothing really bad's happening right now. And Microsoft, man, I'll get into it with the scores here with technology so fast. Visual Studio is so fast now. That really fixed everything. It's just so fast now with how I'm developing, and it's such a breeze. It's like, wow, okay, this is what I've been missing out on, and this is what I've been expecting this entire time. So now my development environment is awesome, and really the only thing that's sticking out there is the ReSharper Blazor rendering. But really, I don't care at this point. With everything else that's been fixed, we'll just keep that out there for a while. And it looks like JetBrains is working on that, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, effectiveness levels. These are scores that I assign of different areas and share them with my team members, which is you, if you're paying attention here and watching this and have an interest in starbeam.one. And, this is sort of like the emotional, how do I feel? We always talk about feelings here, and you have to be very aware of your feelings, I think, to be a successful human being. And that's what we do here with these levels here. So morale overall, I was a 6 last time, but things feel a little bit better right now, and I don't feel so bad. I feel adjusted to the schedule right now, and we still have a good 2 or 3 weeks left over with the schedule as is, and it's going to be a lot of quality that is done with that. So I'm feeling good about that. Okay, schedule. This is a 2 last time, and really funny. I look at this word schedule, and every time I'm like, did I spell that right? And it's really messing with me. It's like, is that how you spell schedule? And I did a search, and I did a copy paste, and it still looks funny to me. I don't know why. Okay, but last time it was a 2, and now it's a 6. Last time we were behind schedule, and now I just feel so much better I think this is the right choice, right? Like we're just taking our time here, and we're basically doing Alpha 3 and Alpha 4, and this is the Alpha 3 that we deserve in Alpha 4. And now, there's a lot more space now, and I feel a lot more relaxed, and that's reflected here in the score. Technology, I feel so great about. Just like I was mentioning during friction points, there aren't no points of friction right now. Like it's all really just really smooth and just lightning fast when I go between files and copy and pasting things. It's so much better. And there still are some problems. That's why it's a 9 and not a 10. But yeah, it's just feeling really great. I'm really able to get a lot done. So I'm feeling so much better about that now. Marketing, I feel a lot better because I'm not spending as much time on Twitter. It's just such a time suck. With Twitter, you just pour all your time into that, and we just shared a meme. Willowgate just shared a meme on our Discord. It talks about how much time is spent these days as an artist creating art versus online with social media and whatnot. So I just don't spend as much time on Twitter, and it really makes a difference. I still give it a 6 because I don't feel good about it. But what I do feel good about is that we only have 300 followers on our Twitter account, and there's just so much activity. It feels so much more active than it shows for the followers, right? Like every single tweet has a like and it has a retweet, and it's just so much activity, and there's just so many different tweets that are there. And it's like, what is really going on with these different accounts that have tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of followers? And some of them do have engagement and whatnot, but we only have 300 and we have so much engagement already. So I feel better about that, right? Like I don't feel like I need to be spending so much time on marketing. So that is why it's probably not lower, but it might be higher because I'm just starting to not care as much. Support remains. I feel good about that. I haven't had any nasty grams or people complaining just yet. So I just hope that continues. So I'm feeling really good about this. All right, cool. This is our mid-month check-in. I do 2 of these per month. So I do the first week and then I do the third week. And if there's a 5th week, there sometimes is, I don't do anything. And that's actually next month. So next month is going to be a 5-week month. And I do the first week and the third week. And this is the third week of April. And so this is the second show. And there we are. That's, try to keep it shorter, even though I'm almost pressing 20 minutes here, but just kind of want to check in with everyone, get some experience, brush off the dust, and then, maybe do some beatboxing as well. Maybe I'll do a little bit more next episode, and, maybe I'll sell some. That's kind of the goal here. So pretty happy with that idea. And with that, I just want to thank everyone out there for all your sales, all your engagement with our 300 followers on Twitter. I feel like we have 3,000, right? It's just so great there that we have such a strong community on Twitter, and just want to thank you for all your engagement and all your participation and all your purchases and all of your support. So I've got some hashtags there if you want to use them on Twitter. And until next time, I guess that's it. And until next time, stay safe out there and stay bright. Goodbye.